Okay, today we're going to share with you something from the Brisker Rav. Yeah, you know the Brisker Rav? You know how great the Brisker Rav was? They say before he passed away, he brought his son and he told his son everything he did from the age of 5. He was able to remember. And he said from there was like no sin, basically. I'm saying, it's like, I saw it in one of the Sefer. Rav Shlomo Lorenz writes it down in his Sefer, how he told his son from the age of 5 everything that what he did throughout his life. You know what's going on? Like how tahor and how kadosh the Brisker Rav was. Now, there was once a fellow, he came to the Brisker Rav, and to be honest, he did something very, 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 very not good. Something like extremely not good. He ruined something, tremendous ruin. So he told the Brisker Rav, was it that bad? What should I do with this, that? The Brisker Rav told him as like this. He says, there was once a wagon driver, wagon drivers, and there was another fellow, he wanted to get into the business of driving a wagon, a horse and buggy. So he went, he told the people, told the town, yeah, I'm going to do it. So all the other people that were involved in the business of horse and buggy, they got like nervous a little bit. Oh, this guy's going to come. It's another competition that we have for us. It's another competition. So what did he do? So the people, they went to tell the chief wagon driver, what should we do? So he says, who's the guy? This is the guy. He says, okay, no problem. As the chief wagon driver, I'll go speak to the guy, convince him not to be part of this new business adventure of wagon driving. And the fellow went, speaks to this guy, he says, listen, as the chief wagon driver of the town, I'd like to know, why do you want to be a wagon driver? He says, listen, this, that, he starts telling him the whole thing. And now, mind you, the chief wagon driver has to make sure he doesn't get into the business because otherwise more competition. So he ends like this. He says, I'll ask you one question, and if you get it right, I know you know how to drive your wagon. If you don't get it right, then how are you going to be a driver? So what's the question? So what happens if you have people in the wagon, you're driving you and the horses, and it's the middle of the night, and you get stuck in the mud? So I get stuck in the mud, I'll take my whip and I'll hit the horse very hard. Says, very good, but let's say if you get very stuck in the mud, that even whipping your horse won't even help. He says, then I'll get out and I'll push. As I whip the horse, I'll also push the wagon. Says, what if you're such stuck in the mud, that doesn't help either? He says, then I'll tell the passengers that's with me, get out of the wagon and push with me to get out of the mud. And he says, and what if you're so stuck in the mud that even the passengers can't even help you and there's nobody around? What do? He starts thinking. He says, you're right. If I'm so stuck in the mud, I don't know what I'll do. So the chief wagon driver says, and you want to take people and put them in danger? How can you do that? He says, you're right. I guess I can't be a wagon driver. So he says, that's right. So as they're departing, the guy says to the chief wagon driver, wait, but tell me, what's the answer? What do you do if I get stuck in the mud? That way I can't get out. He said, as the chief wagon driver, I'll tell you the answer. The answer is, a person doesn't get stuck in the mud. Meaning to say you got to be careful from the beginning where you're driving. Says it's a lesson to us in life. In life, nobody wants to get stuck in the mud. You got to make sure prior not to get stuck.